Namaste, good morning everybody, or evening, wherever you are watching this video as well. So welcome to March, by the way. It's the beginning of March, so we're turning closer to the next season. So we are arriving here in our 5th week, and we come to Visuddha or Visuddha, the throat chakra. So obviously the throat chakra is located at the throat. So physically it's involving the throats, the larynx, the mouth, actually also the ears, neck, and some of our shoulders. And it is also, the glands is the thyroid glands, so the thyroid and parathyroid glands. So a super sort of important one, because we actually have a lot of thyroid issues in a society these days. This seems to be a bit of a thing. So it's somehow, because we're coming now really into the subtle realms of the chakra system. Okay, someone's just about to come. Coming into the subtle realms of the chakra system, the element here is often said traditionally to be space, but the teacher that I follow calls the element here sound, and that really makes a lot of sense to me, because this is the area that creates sound, that gives us the ability to create and also hear sound. So sound is a form of vibration, and everything resonates and vibrates at a certain tone, and this is where we're coming into that sort of vibrational tone of the body. And this ability to resonate with things around us means that we begin to learn to live more in rhythm. So this living in rhythm with the greater whole helps to create a healthy vibration of the body. So to be in resonance with nature, and also as you come to live with other people, to be with other people, it is a thing that we come into resonance with each other. So, you know, a child's heartbeat will begin to come into resonance with their breathing, I should say, will come into resonance with their parents, for example. Or if you were to have a whole room full of grandfather clocks ticking away at, you know, different times, tick, 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 by the end of the day, they will all be tick, tick, tick together. So there's this natural force in nature that brings us into resonance. So this is some sort of coming to that level. Visuddha actually means to purify. So now we're getting into the realms of purification. When we start coming into the higher chakras, we really need to purify ourselves, our body, our mind, our thinking. So it is coming into this process when we really start working on this chakra. A lot of, you know, stuff can come up. But the main thing, I guess, about this chakra, its main thing is truth. Like, a lot of people will say this is communication. It is the chakra of communication. It's absolutely true. The way that we can speak and express ourselves. But it's coming from a deeper place of simply talking. If you talk a lot of crap, it's not really coming from Visuddha, but maybe there's an imbalance. If you speak a lot and you speak fast, then you're just talking a whole lot of bullshit. You know, there could be that there's an imbalance in this chakra that needs looking at, because it starts to ask us to come from a place of truth, to come from a place of authenticity and integrity, and to live and express our lives from that truth. So yeah, so this is where this idea of communicating is okay, but it's really, Hayes is really communicating from a place of truth. And I say collectively, our throat chakra is screwed. You know, like, society doesn't really you know, the laws or the people that govern us is not really into this individuality. Like this starts at the Manipura chakra to individuate. But here we come into that real truth of individuating, and it is asking us here at the Shadi, as we come into purification, to ask questions, to question everything. And of course, that in our society and in most societies around the globe are really not into individuals asking questions. So what else did I want to say about this? Oh, it's a place of creativity as well. So true creativity. We start the creativity down in Svadhisthana in the second chakra, but here is this deeper connection to truth and creativity. So true art is coming from this place, right? Our ability to write, to create art that has real purpose and meaning. And of course, music is here from this place of sound. So quite a bit to sort of, I guess, think about there. Let me just check my notes and see if there's anything else I wanted to speak about. Not really. I think that sort of covers, you know, what that chakra is about. So yeah, let's get on. We are working more with the upper body really this week. So we're going to come and start in standing. So if you'd like to come to, I guess, the top of your mat. Yes, the top of your mat. And hopefully I can get my camera work going. And we're going to start with our feet around hip distance. Can be a little wider if that's more comfortable for you. We're going to interlace our hands, and we're going to place that interlace in, tucking it in under the chin, into the throat. We draw our elbows towards each other, and we're going to do some breath work here. So if you want to watch one round, you're welcome to. Let me just get my computer out of the way. We're going to inhale and allow the elbows to open wide as the chin lifts, and expand the arms, the hands, the palms up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we draw them back in under the chin and draw the elbows back in. And we do this, if you can, with Ujjayi breath, the partial closing of the epiglottis. So you have that little audible sound coming out of the breath like a light snore. If you don't know how to do that, just keep breathing. We're going to inhale, reaching the elbows out, lifting the chin, stretching the arms up, press into the floor as you do it, and exhale, drawing the hands back in under the chest, and then chin, and then elbows. And just in your own time, inhaling. We want 7. Reaching up, grounding down, exhaling, coming back in. Dividing heaven and earth at the peak of that stretch. Maybe 1 or 2 more, depending on where you're at. Completing 7, 1 for each chakra. And then we're going to inhale and rise up the hands. And as we exhale wide and bending the knees slightly, you might need to draw your feet in a little bit more. Coil in a little bit here as you cross the arms, stay left over right, and then inhale, rise up. And exhale, nice and wide again as you come out. And as you coil back in, crossing the right all on top of the left this time. Inhale, rising, straightening the legs as you come to the peak, bending them back down as you bring the arms back. And then inhale, sweeping the arms, opposite cross again. Exhale, coming back in, a little tuck of the chin to really get through the shoulders and neck at the same time. Inhale, rising, chin rises, and exhale, super yummy. Inhale, take the arms now up and over your head, and just bring the palms together, and as you exhale, tip over to the right-hand side. Doesn't matter if you've gone the opposite. And then inhale, rising, getting comfortable, lengthening from feet to fingers, and exhale over to the other side. Press into that opposite foot that you're leaning into. Inhale, rise, lengthen, get comfortable. Let's do it again. Exhale, dip to the right, press into that left foot. Take a breath there as we hold and open up that whole left gate of the body. And then inhale, rising, getting comfortable again. From foot to fingers, we lengthen, and exhale over to the left. Begin to press that right foot nice and deeply. And then inhale back to the center. As you exhale, arms wide. And as they arrive to the side of your body, just begin this natural rotation, releasing of the shoulders. That can really get a little uncomfortable after a while. So any natural releasing in the neck and shoulders. And then use an inhale to half lift just to the height of your shoulders, the hands. Exhale to bring the interlace behind you. If this is hard for you, just shelve your hands on your sacrum and draw your elbows in towards each other. Pop your chest. Otherwise, you can extend those arms long and down towards the floor and away from your buttocks at the same time. Lift from the lower belly into the heart as you press the feet into the floor. And then exhale, begin to scoop into the lower belly as you bend the knees and begin to slowly lower, coming forward and lower your torso over your thighs and the arms over your head as the head just completely releases, crown towards the earth. Take a couple of natural breaths here. If you like the deepened breath, that's also cool. And you could even just turn your chin to the left and then the right, or the other way around. Come back to the center. And half lift, and as you do, let the arms drop to the buttocks. And as you exhale, just run the hands down the back of the legs to your heels. And then in front of your feet. Bend the knees deeply, roll up like a ragdoll, head and arms hanging. Inhaling all the way, and then maybe a second breath or a full inhale as the hands come up and over the head again. Making yourself comfortable as you go. Exhale the arms wide and bringing the hands back behind us in the opposite interlace. Whatever that one is to you. You bend the knees, you begin to scoop up, really from the feet pressing into the floor, into the belly, scooping in and up, and either hands on the shelf of your sacrum or reaching away and try and control those front bottom ribs as we lift into the heart, but not so much into those ribs. And as you exhale, bending a little bit more at the knees and beginning to lower the body and releasing the head as the hands come over as if to the floor in front of us, which will not happen unless you dislocate the shoulder. Now, there are some yogis who do some pretty incredible things. So just relaxing through the neck and head, and if you like, you can swing your chin again from side to side. Just be careful, the neck can be a little bit of a tricky little area.
And then half lift as you're ready. And as you half lift, the hands drop to the buttocks and use the exhalation just to run the hands down the back of the leg and refolding. And then let the hands hang in front of you, bend the knees really deeply and press the floor away from you as you roll up like a ragdoll.
Inhaling the arms over your head with a second inhale, or the same one. And as you exhale, drawing the hands back down to the hearts. And just take a moment. Take a couple of ujjayi breaths here to really reconnect with the throat chakra, with Visuddha. I get a bit confused by the name. I think I always call it Visuddha. I think there's another name, Visuddha, Visuddha, and Visuddha. And I'm not quite sure where all those different names come, maybe from south and north and various things. So if I sound a bit confused, that's why. Okay, we're going to inhale and just reach the arms up and over our head as we press the feet into the floor. Be soft in your knees and firm through your feet and your belly. And as you exhale, folding with an open heart, bending the knees, diving down, leading yourself down with the heart and releasing the head so the crown comes all the way towards the earth, if you can manage that. These are as soft as they need to be, and then we're going to swim our shoulders. So rotating one shoulder at a time simultaneously in opposite directions, if that makes any sense. And then change the direction of that rotation. Try and let the head be completely relaxed, completely released. And then we swing the chin from side to side as we let go of the work of the shoulders. Trying to take a little bit further each time you manage, so we don't go super slow with the breath. And then come back to the center. And we half lift, taking our hands out in front of us, under our shoulders, and we're just going to step back a little bit with the feet so we come down onto our hands and knees into cat pose. If you like, you can shake out your ankles, because though we're focusing on the top half, you know, that really small part of the body, you can always, you know, pay some attention, of course, to the rest of the body. So we're going to come into a little bit of cat-cow. And to start with, I want to come into the lion's breath. You can be doing some cat-cow work as I talk, but I'm going to demonstrate, just in case some of you don't know what Siddhasana is. Siddhasana is the lion's breath, and often done with the cat-cow action. We would inhale, rolling our sit bones, chest chin up, and as we exhale, we poke our tongue out as if we want to touch our chin with it, and we come into the cat aspect of the pose as we release our roar. We inhale and exhale. We inhale, lifting, and exhale. Poke your tongue out and roll. Inhale once again, last one. And inhale back into just your normal cow, and then just a little play. Whatever really naturally arises that may be keeping in with the natural cat-cow movement, or it might be really getting into those shoulders by bending or buckling at the elbows and wagging your tail in different directions, or simply pulling back a little bit more towards the heel, or a little bit more forward towards the hands, top of the mat. And as you do that, you could, you know, roll your head, your chin from side to side. So just getting into the whole of the body, keeping that slight focus actually of the neck, shoulders. And then when you're done there, tucking those toes under, you might like a little wriggle of the ankles. dropping your buttocks back down to your heels and stretching those arms out away from you so you get a nice full stretch from the hands to the hips. And I'd like you to have your hands at shoulder distance and the palms pressing into the floor. And in particular, you might need a little extra focus on pressing the index and thumb knuckles into the floor. And breathe in from the hands, reaching all the way into the hips. And breathe out from the tail, reaching all the way to the crown. So inhale and lengthening from hands to hip. And exhale, lengthening from tail to crown. One more. In Ujjayi if you can. And then as we inhale, we're going to roll up, doing the cat action, so dropping the head and tail, and at the same time pushing forward until our shoulders come over our wrists, and then we look up with a straight back in half plank. And then exhale, roll the sit bone up, lift your chin, looking up, drop the buttocks down to the heel at the same time. And then we inhale, press the hands into the floor, tuck the tail, drop the head, push forward with a rounded spine. As the shoulders arrive over the wrist, we look up with a flat back. And then exhale, roll your sit bones up as you look up and forward and pull the hips back towards the heels. Inhale, dropping head and tail, rounding forward, shoulders land over the wrists, look up, flat back. Exhale, roll the sit bones, looking up, lifting, pushing back, buttocks to heels. Inhale, rolling forward one last time. And as you exhale, this time step the hands just a little bit more forward, like a hand's distance forward of where they sit now. And as you exhale, we begin to roll the sit bones up, suck the lower belly into the spine, into the body, and drop the heart down. If this is too much for you, you're going to tuck the tail and look towards your belly as you half round. And then exhale, begin to roll the sit bones up again, open we're almost externally rotating the arms and dropping the heart down, and then maybe one more, tucking, looking towards your belly, rounding through the spine, and then lastly, open up, press those hands into the floor and offer your chest and your chin to the floor, if that's possible, because we often do this with the forehead down. But today we're trying to see if we can learn the heart and the chin down to the earth. Breathing there a couple of times, couple of rounds. You might be able to find your Ujjayi breath here. And then carefully coming up, on an inhale, you can tuck your tail, lift up your elbows momentarily, and then simply put them down when you can back onto the floor. We're tucking the toes and lifting the knees as we come into elbow plank. Take one breath holding there from heels to crown, pulling away from each other, and your hips and belly lifting away from the floor. And then as you exhale, we place the knees, the thighs, the hips, and the belly onto the floor, and we come into our Sphinx pose. I'll just turn a little bit so you can see, perhaps. Okay, so here in the Sphinx, our elbows are under our shoulders. And if that's too pinchy in the lower back, then they're going to come forward and out, so you can drop the amount of curvature in the spine. And here we're just going to figure of eight for a moment through the shoulders. So making a little circle with one shoulder, dropping it in towards the center, and then rounding our way to drop the opposite one into the center. So it's a little figure of eight movement that we have with our shoulders, swaying from left to right. So find the sense and the flow in your own body if the words are confusing you.
And then once you've done that, getting comfortable, you might even like to simply come back to the center, drop the chin into the chest, lengthen out through the crown, and swing the chin from left to right. And then coming back to the center, just release the jaw a little here as you keep the chin tucked and the crown shooting out in front of you. Just a little back and forth with the jaw, a little And then we're going to do this insanely funny thing. We're going to inhale, our head comes up. And as we exhale, we're going to open our mouth and turn to the left, like we're one of those clowns at one of the shows that you stick the little balls in to try and get into the right thing to win a prize. So we inhale, and as we exhale, open your jaw wide. Inhale, you can close the mouth and come back to the center. And we exhale to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale, center, and exhale. Mouth nice and wide. Beautiful. Coming back there, you can press your hands into the elbows, widen your elbows, and just drop your head onto your stacked hands in front of you. And again, you might like just a little moment where you roll out and release out through the shoulders. You can take a moment where you rock your hips from side to side as well. You're just showing off now, Jess. Just changing camera angle a little bit. Getting supremely comfortable in your body. And then bringing your hands in, not under the shoulders, but really alongside the chest. Alongside the ribs. Fingers are facing up towards the shoulders. Our elbows are tucked in, pretty much in line with your shoulders. We're going to take an inhale, and as we press the right foot into the floor, we're going to lift the left leg and look up. Hands can press into the floor and pull back towards the back of your mat. And exhale to release head and foot. And inhale, press the left foot in and lift the right leg and look up. Press those hands in and back for support. Exhale and repeat that again. Inhale, lifting left leg, right leg, foot supports, hands in support. Exhale to drop down. Inhale, right leg and looking up and all the support from hand and foot, hands and foot. Exhale, back down. Now you can remain here with the hands just where they are and lift both your feet and looking up. Exhale back down, and you can keep it there, or you can interlace your hands and begin to stretch them down the buttocks, down towards your feet. Begin to roll those shoulders back and down. And then inhale, try and lift the feet, the chest, and the hands off the buttocks. As you reach away, take one more breath there. Inhale. And as we exhale, dropping back down, hands are just going to change to interlace, or you can keep the hands on the floor where they were. And inhale, rise once again, rolling those shoulders back and down, lifting the hands, the feet, the chest, looking forward. And then one more breath. As we exhale, we release. You can just drop the hands to the floor. You can drop a cheek to the floor, or you can keep the forehead on the floor if you can tuck your nose in comfortably enough. Take a couple of deep breaths there. Breathe into the back body. fill your back body with your awareness. Use the exhalation to relax any tension, any over-efforting. And repeat that one more time. Hands come in under the shoulders once again, or under the shoulders this time. Inhale to push up onto your knees, hands and knees, and then just make yourself comfortable to push up into downward facing dog. So just adjust your hands and feet. So the hands are at shoulder distance, the feet are at hip distance, pressing into the palms of the hands and all four corners of those palms, especially focusing on the index and thumb area. And then you can really keep the heels a little higher and the knees a little bit bent, and then begin to really push the floor away from you as you drop the heels down. You might even like to try lifting the toes off the floor, just as an added little experiment. And a little play. Any releasing that you need here. You could even round forward, bend the knees almost to the floor, and you're just going to hold and watch that with the chin tucked. And then exhale, lift the knees off, push back into downward facing dog. Lengthen from your hands to your hips, from your tail to your crown. And then inhale once again, really lift the heels, begin to bend the knees, keep your gaze looking at the knees as they make their way to the earth, but then just hover. And then exhale, push back. Lengthening through the spine and the back of the legs, hands to hips, tail to crown, sit bones to heels. One more, inhale, lift heels, round forward, bend the knees, and slowly guide them towards the floor. Hover there for a moment. And then exhale, push back. Straightening the legs as much as you can, comfortably do so without losing any length in the spine. Begin to lengthen from hands to hips, press the inner hands into the floor. And then lengthen from tail to crown. And then lengthen from sit bones lifting up to the heels reaching down. And then begin to walk your feet in towards your hands. And as you arrive, you fold again in full Uttanasana. You can just release any shoulder, neck, or wrist discomfort that you might have. And from there, we're going to widen the feet about shoulder distance with the toes facing out just a little bit more than the heels. Make yourself comfortable with any little movement that works for you. Take a half lift, and as you exhale, we're going to scoop that lower belly in. Begin to guide the buttocks down as the knees bend. You can lift your heels if you need to, as you drop the buttocks down towards the earth into a squat. Reaching the hands out in front of you with our Agni Mudra. If you can, it's okay. If you just want to keep your hands where they are to keep yourself steady. You can drop your head in between the arms so the chin is slightly tucked. Crown reaching towards the hands, hands reaching out in front. Breathe a nice breath into the back body again. And then as you're ready, you squeeze yourself into a little ball. You're really drawing into the belly so you can perhaps just quietly sit down
If that's not possible for you, please take the hands behind your buttocks and support yourself to come down. Very good. So just make pull the feet a little bit away so we can lift our palms up towards the ceiling. A little bit of movement from side to side with the head, just taking the chin to left to right a couple of times. Begin to find that activation in your core center. Feet are pressing in. You know, it's not a hard press because they feel like they're going to start coming a little light. So we just want to counterpose the lightness of the feet by pressing into the earth. We're going to coil and slowly release ourselves down. Yes, perhaps as we pat a little doggy. And then we arrive on the earth. Make yourself comfortable there. Bring your feet in so they're closest to your sit bones. You don't want them too far away because we're coming into the bridge pose. So as we come into bridge, we really want to be able to find that the ankles are under our knees in order to truly be able to support ourselves without pushing ourselves back. So feet are just behind your sit bones. Hands, arms are running alongside the body. Yeah, thanks, Suze. But I can see you. That's always nice. Arms alongside the body, just slightly pressing feet, arms, and shoulders into the floor. You might even want to draw those shoulder blades in towards each other a little bit. We begin by pressing the feet very firmly into the floor. Take the inhalation as we begin to lift the hips and peel the spine off the floor. Keep pressing those feet in, keeping the knees and thighs steady. So you want to keep the knees in line with your hips or thereabouts. And not falling out to the side so you get light in the inner feet. So we really want to press down there. Keep the thighs and knees steady, and then use an exhalation to just release through the shoulders and vertebra by vertebra, roll back down along the spine. Sacrum is the last thing to touch the earth again. And then we repeat, inhale, pressing the feet into the floor, lifting the hips, peeling the spine. Keep pressing the feet into the floor as you explore what you've got available here. Lengthen the tail as you begin to come into the peak. Relax those shoulders into the earth. Exhale, vertebra by vertebra, coiling back down, spine to earth. Sacrum is the last thing to arrive. And then this time, let's inhale and bring the arms up and over with us. So taking that nice steady peeling of the spine off, but the arms are now coming up and over. And as we exhale, coiling once again, rounding through the spine, really tucking the tail so you can really feel each vertebra hitting the earth with the sacrum as the last thing. So once again, feet press in. Peeling off. Inhale, keep those knees steady. Arms overhead. And let's just keep the arms there. Begin to keep pressing the feet into the floor. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, really allow that lower belly to suck into itself. Suck back in towards the spine. Each exhale, you might find that nice bowling, you know, it's like making a nice bowl with the belly. So really allow that suction to happen. Begin to draw then your chest towards your chin. Allow the breath to become a little more shallow. So you can really activate these bandhas. And then slowly release down. Let's bring our hands with us. And vertebra by vertebra, back down. And as you arrive on the floor, you can just widen your heels a little bit and drop the knees into the middle so they're stacked or supporting each other, leaning into each other. Take a couple of breaths there. And you might even like to open the knees up and then just swing them a couple of times side to side without moving the feet together, just allowing this nice wide foot movement as we wind wipe the knees from side to side. Just your own timing, feeling into your own body. Lovely. Coming back to the center, and then you might like to squeeze your knees in, a little swivel on the sacrum, perhaps, a little rock from side to side, or little circles, nourishing the sacrum and lower back. Couple of rounds in both directions. And then reach the feet up 90 degrees. Hands can be at the back of the legs, wherever they comfortably fit, just supporting that. And just beginning this idea of how can I draw my feet up and over my head a little bit with keeping my legs reasonably straight. And you can really begin to activate that, or to stretch into the lower back, drawing those feet over a little bit and then releasing, and then drawing them over a little bit and then releasing. And then you can just come back 90 degrees, release the feet back to the floor, and let's just take a nice wide Shavasana moment where we take the breath in, cleansing the body, this idea of purifying with our awareness, purifying with our breath, whole body. As we come into the higher chakras, we really want to have the physical body feeling really good so we can comfortably come into the more subtle realms. Any movement you need in any part of your body, but particularly through the neck, please take it. Now, I forgot to say that we're going to do some shoulder stand and halasana. So I want to give you some variations in case you don't have shoulder stand variation, or perhaps you're not practicing inversions today because it doesn't feel right for you, or you're having you're on the moon cycle. But I'm going to suggest you have a bolster. You could use the bolster. One is you could simply bring the bolster in under your hips and you could lift up, and you could be here and you could be here for halasana. It's not the perfect situation for what I'm trying to create here in the body, which is really to activate here in the throat, in the thyroid, and in the Visuddha chakra. But if you are, for whatever reason, needing to take it very easy, some injury in the neck, shoulder, or moon cycle, or just whatever, then you can take that. Otherwise, if you do have a bolster, you want to try halasana, but you're not too sure, halasana is the plough pose, you're not too sure if you can make it feet to the floor behind you, you could have a bolster or a couple of blocks behind you. So to start with, we're going to say we could just work with Viparita Karani, or what I like to call half shoulder stand, which is where we place our hands beside us. We're going to have to kick up to lift up. So we should have perhaps done some of those lifts to try and get your core nice and strong so we can lift up. And as you do, I want you to place your hands onto your hips. You could just watch for a while if you like. And then we just drop the hips into the hands. So we're in this little side V shape.
So that way we're taking all the effort out of our neck and shoulders. We're not compressing so much there. So this may be really doable for you if you only have a slight injury somewhere. And the only thing about this is it's quite strong on the wrist. So you need to really lift your body, lift into your hips and try and keep fairly light off those wrists if you have any wrist issues. So you could just remain there. But if you do want to try for the full pose, where we're going, so stay here, come down when you're ready, or drop your feet down to your bolster behind you. We're coming into Halasana to start with, not shoulder stand. But if you don't like Halasana and you just want to do shoulder stand, also that's okay. But once we're in Halasana, Halasana is so good to prepare properly for shoulder stand. So once you're in Halasana, perhaps with a supportive blocks or a bolster under your feet, we're going to try and walk those shoulder blades in towards each other a little bit more. You could even try interlacing your hands and lengthening them along the floor. We should have done that in our bridge pose. I forgot to offer that. And that way you're really getting your shoulders into the correct position to be here. And then we place our hands up, and if we can, as low or as high up the back as possible. You might like to simply start with reaching one leg up into the air in line over the hip. Take a couple of breaths there as the body gets used to that. And then bring that right foot down, or whatever foot is in the air, leg is in the air, and swap it out. Left leg lifts. Try and keep connected with the bolster. Doesn't matter if it lifts off, but this is the one-legged shoulder stand. And once you've had a couple of moments there, see if you can get your hands down, or sorry, up the back a little bit more towards your shoulder blades to lift that second leg, so we're both legs up in the air. Keep pressing your hips forward and lengthening your tail up. Keep reaching the feet up towards the ceiling. Be strong and firm in the belly. Gaze is just up at your, hips or even your feet. But sometimes just gazing at the navel gazing here is quite nice. So if you're happy there and want to stay, you can bring the soles of your feet together as the knees bend and widen away from each other in a Konasana, Baddha Konasana style. I like to pull my toes away from each other as I press the balls and the heels into each other in this pose. And if you're still with me, and I can't see because I'm in shoulder stand, you can widen your feet so they pull away completely, legs are straight and the legs are wide. Now, if you'd like to try that in Halasana, we can also do that. You can come up whenever you're ready, of course. But we're going to see if we can drop the feet to the floor in the wide leg position. So the left foot all the way to the left, the right foot all the way to the right. Now perhaps comes to the floor. And if you're still with me and you've still got it, see if you could drag that right toe, the right foot all the way over to the left. Take a couple of breaths and then take that right foot back over to the right hand side and then see if you can take the left foot over to the right. And then widen once again, left to the left side. Draw your feet together into the center, back in Halasana. And if you're still with me, which I doubt many people are, we're going to slowly curl down, super slowly. Bring your hands to the floor, almost your thumbs touching each other, arms long, straight, and slowly guide your spine, vertebra by vertebra, as we've been doing, to the floor. So this is creating clearing my throat for me. And then the buttocks comes to almost sit on the hands, but sit on those thumbs. We really, really tuck those elbows in. And as you begin to lower the legs straight to the floor, we're going to lift up into the elbows, push the elbows into the floor, lift your chest, drop the legs all the way to the earth, and press the elbows into the floor so your head and chest is lifted now off the floor. You could perhaps try bringing the head back to the floor, but I really like this whole lifted thing. So just allowing the head to drop back, chest and throat completely open, suck the lower belly in, reach into your legs. And then when you're ready, a little shrug of the shoulders as you drop the torso back, the arms straight and release. Take them from out of the underneath your buttocks and just allow them to widen with the palms facing up. Feet just away from each other in a beautiful, open, expanded Shavasana. Just let that intensity of the inversions integrate into the body. And as you're ready, you can just allow the head to drop to, say, the right side. And just hold it there for a few gentle rounds of breath. And then inhaling back to the center as you exhale, taking it over to the left or whatever side you're working with. Coming back to the center, drink the breath in, drawing it all the way into and throughout the body, drawing it in through the nose and down through the throat, into the torso, down the arms, into the hands, down through to the hips, legs, and feet. Washing out, purifying, and exhaling out the debris, out the stagnation. Whatever needs to be released can be released in this moment. Anything holding you back from your truth, from your integrity, from your authenticity. And if you need to, you can release it out through the mouth.
And then just wriggling a little in your fingers and toes again. Any little movement that feels nice for you. And we're just going to come and sit up momentarily for a short while. If you need anything under your buttocks just to sit for a moment, you can take that. We've gone from a beautiful day yesterday, a rare beautiful day this winter, this summer, and it's really gone quite fresh again. So find a nice, long, erect spine. Find your sit bones, your seats, your perineum, rooting down to the earth, Muladhara. And then find that sense of ease and flow and fluidity as we move up the spine, of which Swadhisthana offers us. Moving up again, finding that tejas, no, not the tejas, the chakras, that inspiration, that igniting your, will to be here, firing up. Rising up and feeling the breath enter the body, this expanding presence in the heart, in the chest, that allows everything to really become in a soft focus, in a loving, tender way. And then we rise up into the throat, into Visuddha. And as you begin to bring your awareness there, I'd like you to begin to really breathe in, as if you're breathing directly into the throat, like you have a tracheotomy. So just imagine breathing into there and activating that ujjayi quality to your breath. If you can, you inhale audibly, drawing the breath into the body through the throat. And exhaling it out through the throat with the same quality, the same sound. As you breathe in and out from this area of your body. Each time now you inhale, keeping that ujjayi quality if you can, imagine that you can see this beautiful, illuminating sky blue ball of energy beginning to form in that area. As you exhale, you can just find your way into exploring this chakra a little more deeply. Sometimes can be a little elusive to find, or sometimes it really, you can just really feel it strongly there. Breathing in the light, breathing in energy, purification. And as you exhale, just imagine that you can exhale whatever holds you back from your truth, whatever is holding you prisoner from who you really are and how you really want to express yourself. It can just be you know, an imagination right now, and we don't know how much of that may come true. And just beginning to slowly let go of the Ujjayi breath. Keeping with the visual, with the felt sense or awareness, feeling that you have in that area. Keeping your attention there, keeping connected to the chakra. We're now going to repeat the bija sounds, the mantra for this chakra. And appropriately, this mantra here is hum. So we're just going to repeat the mantra several times over and over, and just work with your own breath. You're in your own home. Maybe nobody's listening. It really doesn't matter, but just find your own rhythm. But I repeat it several times in one breath, and then take another breath and repeat it several times with one breath. So when you're ready, you can join me. Hum, 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 hum. Hum, 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 hum. Hum, 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 hum. Letting the vibrational tone of the mantra settle in through the chakra, helping it to balance and clear and cleanse. And then let that vibrational cleansing begin to integrate into the rest of your body, into the rest of your subtle realms of the body, in particular, with really working more with subtle. And it is said that in some circles, it is said that all our illnesses really start in the subtle body first. The little imbalances and aggravations, they start off in that subtle realm and then enter into the physical. So if we can keep the subtle body balanced and clean and in a higher vibration, and a clear vibration, then that can really help affect the physical body. So as you settle back, you could take a moment again in Shavasana. You could lie back down and rest in Shavasana. Or you could come into a seated meditation. So please take your choice. Come back to the breath. You might like to continue imagining that the breath is entering and exiting from the throat without necessarily activating Ujjayi. Letting each exhalation really release any efforting in the body. Or any over movement of the mind. And just allow the attention to begin to settle in resonance with your own breathing, your own rhythm. And let that gentle rhythm of the breath continue to smooth out, to soothe out any dissonance in the subtle body, in the etheric body. And this body reaches out beyond our physical body at around about arm's length. And so as you begin to really relax the body, release it to the earth, allow it to become heavy and settled. Begin to explore the vibrational body, the subtle body that surrounds you inside and out. It's really a borderless body. It doesn't have the boundary of the skin and therefore unable to permeate. It's not how it works. So beginning to allow the boundary of your physical body to begin to merge and melt into the etheric body, the subtle body that surrounds you. And as you allow the form and the formless to begin to intermingle, you can allow everything to settle like waters beginning to settle down after a storm. And we begin to have this hint at the boundlessness of our being. And as you breathe just naturally, spontaneously into your boundless body, just begin to feel into what it is to live in your truth. To live a life aligned with your values. And what does that feel like in this place? So enjoying another moment there in the boundless world and in our place of truth, of our own authenticity, reveling in our own unique expression of divinity. Drink it in with the breath, fill your body with it, and begin to explore, to find once again the boundaries of your physical body. you might be able to experience those boundaries through the breath and the pushing of the breath into and throughout the body as the breath begins to find those limitations once again in the world of form. And as you do, you might be able to initiate some movement once again. A little twinkling in the fingers and toes, or a little movement through the wrists and ankles. Or if you just feel beautiful, expanded, and enjoying the stillness, then of course you can just roll onto the side and come to sit up when you're ready. Let anything that feels right for you to move your way out from, why would you want to, the world of freedom, into our alternate reality, as I'm liking to call this life now. In yoga, it's just a dream. In Vedanta philosophy, this life we live, this real world of earth and form and things, it's just a dream. It's no more real than the dreams that we have when we're in sleep. Fascinating idea, hey? Bring your hands into prayer at the heart center. And if you like, you might even like to really gently touch your throats, not to strangle yourself, but just to gently bring your hands, those potent little healing utensils, to the chakra. And just to feel into that vibrational tone once again, the energy that resides here, you might be able to really feel now with the hands, or just to simply give healing and love to this area of your body, to this area of your life. And you can stay there, or you can bring your hands back into prayer as you bow your head to your hearts. And just closing class with one full Om. So we inhale together. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, whether you're here now or a little later. I just want to finish off with saying that if you would like to work a little bit more on this chakra, every time I'll say, look it up on the internet. There is so much information out there. It's only limited with the short amount of time I have here with you guys. But because it is the chakra of sound, you can work to help clear this chakra through sound, through singing, through chanting, through reading even aloud. You might like to read poetry aloud, or some story aloud, or read out the words of a song that you like aloud. Also, journaling is another way, because we are still expressing and communicating through writing. So writing is another really good way. Listen to music, or play music. Let the vibrational tone of things help support your body, your subtle body. If you want this idea of purification and you feel like your home needs an upgrade of energy, you can, of course, get the old sage out and do some clearing. But you could also there's lots of it on YouTube and things like that, hour-long, 3-hour-long, 108-hour-long, whatever, mantras of Om. And Om is very powerful cleansing and clearing mantra. So when I feel like my home needs a little bit of an upgrade, I often put that on and then just turn it up really loud and let the vibration of Om fill my home. And that's a beautiful way. Another interesting way is to, notice how you talk. What's your self-talk? How do you talk to yourself? How do you communicate to others? Remember that the chakra system is not one chakra on its own, doing its own thing. They integrated into each other. So when we want to talk our truth or tell our truth or tell our story or tell somebody a truth about your relationship, can often be a very hard thing for people to experience. So remember, we speak from the heart with compassion and kindness and, a sense of diplomacy. But sometimes we do need to have those difficult conversations. So if you work on this chakra a little bit, it may be at some point you do need to have a conversation that needs to be had. So holding back our truth and, just being aware of lies that we've been told in the past and how that may have actually affected us, particularly if we were in a household growing up with lots of, secrets and lies, is really not a good thing for this chakra. It really does hold it back. So lots of things that you could delve into with that. The other and last thing I will say about this chakra and a way of supporting it and helping balancing it is silence. Weirdly, it's coming from the element of sound, but its silence is its nectar in many ways. Zipping it can be really helpful, and not listening. So be careful during the week about what you're putting in your ears. We don't just get toxic from food, it is from the other senses that we use that also can fill our body with toxins. So be careful about what you're listening to this week. Listen to things that make you feel that inner peace that you hopefully felt right at the end of class in that expansion. I'm talking too much. I'm sure you need to get on with your day and your evening. Lots of love to you all. I see you next week, or maybe for some of you on Thursday. Have a great day. Bye. Bye-bye.